We got started with a monitoring system. When my ex and I separated, it was pretty obvious that she had a drinking problem. And my kids were really little. They were 3 and 5 at the time. And we started to divide up custody and custody arrangements. And I was very fearful about having them go to her house because it was, like I said, very obvious that she was drinking heavily. And so when I started talking to my lawyers, they basically told me there wasn't much we could do because there hadn't been any sort of violation, any sort of obvious incident or anything that had happened that would show that that it was a problem or that the kids were unsafe there. And basically what my lawyers said to me was that there was not much they could do, that people were allowed to drink, and there was no evidence that it was any sort of problem at all for my ex. And I felt very helpless in the whole situation. I felt like, here's my kids who are so young. They are 3 and 5, and there is nothing that I can do to protect them, to make sure that she's sober when she has them on her custody weeks. It really and this was my first kind of, I guess, for anybody, it was my first dealing with any sort of family law practice, any sort of custody arrangements. I didn't have any idea what my rights were. I was reliant on my lawyers, who I do feel like they were great. They were giving me the information that they knew, and it wasn't even that they didn't believe me. They basically just kept telling me, it's your word against hers, and there's no proof that there is anything wrong here. When we started using BACtrack View, that system was set up so that I was always in control of the system. I set the dates that she was testing. I set the times that she was testing. I got alerts every single time she tested, whether it was positive or negative or it was missed. And so once that happened, we, for the last 5 years, have not had to go back to court. I have not had to talk to my lawyers at all. I've had no sort of retainer or interaction with them, because the BACtrack View has worked to make sure that every time she had custody of the kids that she was sober when she was with them.